A few weeks ago, I posted a video about upgrading the rear taillights on my RV here, my 2000 Holiday Rambler Endeavor. If you haven't seen the video yet, you should check it out. It was basically taking the factory lights, which were old GM square body lights with some different lenses on the top ones for turn signals, and then replacing them with some very easily available aftermarket lights that significantly improve the lighting and also really update the look of the RV. I got a lot of really good response from that video, and one of the questions that came out of it from many of the viewers was, what about the headlights? And yes, in fact, I have upgraded the headlights. This was one of the very first things that I did. So I'll talk a little bit about what I did. I'll put links in the description to what exactly I bought and why you might want to do this. So first, why would you want to do this? So this RV came with headlights off of a 1999 era Ford Explorer, and the important thing is the Explorer, not the Explorer Sport. They made two different models, and my understanding is that the Sport model used different lights. But if you look for aftermarket lights for a Ford Explorer, you'll see a whole bunch of options. And again, I'll put a link to what I use in the description below. Now, if you remember when those cars were new, which I do, and you ever rode in one at night, which I did, you will probably also remember the headlights sucked when they were new. They didn't get better with age. And so for the headlights on a lot of RVs at the time, I think less so these days because manufacturing standards and ability to get custom lights has improved. But back in those days, it was very common to just use headlights that were parts bin engineered from another vehicle. Ford Explorer lights were on many RVs at the time. Other popular ones were 2000-ish era Ford Super Duty lights. And I'll include a link in the description to something that I used on my Ford Excursion before that would apply if you had one of those eras. So a couple of things to point out about what I used here. So first off, these lights I like because they have the halo rings around the main lights. So let me go turn that on and you can see what it looks like. I don't know how well this comes through on the video. I don't think it's coming through all that great just looking at my screen here. But if you've ever seen a BMW made after, what, 2003, 2004, you've seen this look before. It does update the look, and the way that I wired this in was so that the halo lights, there's also three little LEDs up here, and kind of this strip above the lights, come on when you turn the marker lights on, so the first click of your headlight switch. These will also then stay on with the main headlights, but if you're operating in a condition where you just maybe want a little bit extra visibility for other vehicles to see you, of course if they can't see this best, they probably should get their eyes examined anyway, but this is something that I kind of like. You don't have to wire it in if you do it, and you can also buy lenses without it. So that's one option. One of the things I liked about it. Now another thing, something that's different, is that with the stock lenses, you had the stock Ford Explorer lenses, you had a single bulb. It was a dual filament, and you had a high beam and a low beam within that bulb. Now with this setup, you've got separate lenses. You've got projectors for the low beams, something that I really like, and then you've just got a standard for the high beam. Now, these lenses came with incandescent bulbs. I believe it was the standard 35, 55 watts, something like that, for the low and the high beam, and they were junk. They did not. These lenses are actually really good with those bulbs in it. You really can't see all that well, low or high beam. So what I did was I upgraded both the low beam and the high beam to HIDs. LEDs are the popular thing now, but the technology really, and from when I've used them and seen them, has not gotten where it needs to be just yet. Obviously the lighting is bright enough with LEDs, but the real problem, and this is the same thing that happened when the early HID kits came out, was that the light was not emitted in the right location for the lens. with headlight lenses, it's really important that the location of that light be correct so that it then throws it around the housing and gets it to the correct part of the road. If you get the location wrong, you're going to annoy other drivers and you're not going to be able to see as well anyway. So I used some, like I said, I'll put some links in the description to the HIDs that I used for the conversion kits, but I did low beams and high beams. Now, another thing to note is that when you have a single bulb setup like the Ford Explorer did for these factory ones, the low beam will turn off when the high beam turns on. And this is intentional. This is so that since you have a dual filament bulb, that you don't overheat that bulb. So one of the things that you do, or that I did anyway, that makes this better is I installed a relay so that when the high beams are on, it feeds power to the low beams. And so then that way, when I turn my high beams on, I have all of the lights on. And with that, I have driven this extensively at night, and it is wonderful. I have great visibility. I do not get drivers flashing their high beams at me, so it seems that I have it correct. Obviously, I'm not driving at them with my high beams on. Then I would deserve to get flashed, but I've got them aimed properly. Like with anything, you're going to have to aim it, and you do need to have some level of electrical capability so that you can do some of this wiring to make it what it needs to be. None of it is difficult. If you have a set of crimpers and wire strippers and a multimeter, you can do this. It's fine. So that's what I did. Hope you found this useful, and if you have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comments. Thanks for watching.